Hi, Maddie. How are you today on this lovely Sunday afternoon? I am a very tired little mouse, but we ball. Had a bunch of stuff to take care of after work, and of course everything came with like 2 other extra things. In a way I cannot name, I understand. Just a sec here. We are back in Johto. Okay, how's my audio? How's the game audio? OBS had an update, so I don't know if that ruined literally everything. Everything seems to be how I left it, but also, I do still have my fan going. That's not too loud or anything, is it? Go ahead and go to Violent City. You know, one thing with, like, Fire Red, and I guess a lot of the other games, too, is that, like, doing the berry run and stuff and the little daily things on Crystal is such a perfect way to start a stream because stuff is still happening, but it's still kind of low-key enough to where, like... Wait, that's right. I think everything sounds alright. Game, I feel, is a tad quieter than normal, but that's fine. I can still hear it. Well, if you want me to turn it up, just let me know. Poliwag. I so much want to use a Politoed in a playthrough in Crystal. Because Poliwag is available so early. I was actually going to, on my original Crystal cartridge, not noticing fan? Okay, good. But I was going to, on my original Crystal cartridge a few years ago, because I was going to have Politoed on the team, because at the time, like, my Gold and Silver's batteries were working too. So you know, I was going to have Politoed, and actually my odd egg, the one that comes with Dizzy Punch, ended up hatching into an Elekid, and it was shiny. So I just had this wonderful thing. It was going to be like Cyndaquil with Politoed and a shiny Electabuzz. And like, the battery just died Gold, Silver, and Crystal's batteries die so fast. Like, I'm always secretly hoping for, like, the real cartridges, that someone will come up with, like, some kind of super technologically advanced button cell battery replacement that'll last, like, 500 years or something. It sucks, too, because, like, I mean, part of it was on me, because even in Gold, Silver, and Crystal with their constant timekeeping with the Crystal Oscillator, they usually do last around 6 to 10 years. It's just, ADHD, time blindness. Because I had it replaced for years, and, like, for at least 3 or 4 years, I started it up, got my Cyndaquil, and, like, I think I was, like, had to just save in Cherry Grove City right at the beginning, or I think I did the whole thing with Mr. Pokemon, but, like, you know, I, got the odd egg or whatever in, like, not Cherry Grove, Violet City, and, like, I just 4 years sitting there not doing Sprout Tower or starting the gym leader or whatever, and, like, when I finally picked it up and got really into it, the battery died, like, a year later or so. And I was playing it so inconsistently, I only got, like, halfway through. I just wish I had maybe been a little more prescient about it or paid more attention to the time, because my Pokemon Stadium 2, like, I have my N64, my Transfer Pack, my Pokemon Stadium 2 still works and stuff, and most N64 games don't have batteries. They have, like, EEPROMs, which those things will last a very long time, and all my N64 games still have working save files and stuff, and they have no problems. The only exception is actually my original copy of Super Smash Bros. Well, it isn't my original, but my copy of Super Smash Bros. For the N64. Which, sadly, can't save anymore. But that is one of the very, like, maybe dozen or so N64 games that use an actual battery instead of an EEPROM or flash memory. Though, honestly, I really wish they would put Smash Brothers, the first one, on NSO. There's a very special vibe with the first N64 Super Smash Brothers that none of the other games in the series really match. Not in a bad way, I'm not saying they're worse or anything, it's just like, they're just different. But, like, I would love to stream and play through all of the main content of Super Smash Bros. N64. What did I come up? Okay, I need to deposit items. Oh, I have a nougat. I need to go sell that. The novelty of trade evolutions has worn off hard, at least outside of smaller countries. I can see that Pokemon knows this too, which is why they've really pulled back on making new ones. Old ones still exist, kind of lock off those Pokemon for a lot of people. I know, because a lot of ROM hacks of Generation 1 through 3 will just have a trade evolution Pokemon, like, automatically evolve at level, like, 35 or 40 or something. Honestly, they fucking solved this in Legends Arceus by just making the linking cord an item. Like, that was so perfect. It was so on theme. And, like, I was always a little sad that in ZA and Scarlet and Violet, the linking cord wasn't there. One of the themes is connection, but trade evolutions aren't really contributing. Yeah. Well, okay, here's my thing with that. I think they should do it kind of like how they did with Feebas. Follow me here. Like, you know, originally in Generation 3 and 4, to get a Melodic, you had to get a Feebas with a perfect beauty stat. and level it up. Which kind of sucked because if you got a Feebas with the wrong nature, for some natures that's literally impossible because it'll hate the flavor of Pokeblocks that would level up its beauty. But you know, from Gen 5 onward, they introduced the Prism Scale, I think it's called, that you can just trade a Feebas holding a Prism Scale, and yeah, okay, that's another trade evolution. But the thing is, if your Feebas had max beauty from an old playthrough and you transferred it up, it would still know that under the hood in the game, and you can just evolve it by giving it a level up. And I think, like, you know, let's say if you wanted to evolve your Kadabra, you could use the linking cord item, or you could trade it. Like, both would work. And heck, they can even, like, if they want to emphasize to still trade, you could have the linking cords just be unlockable in post-game or something. Hi, Rain. How are you doing today on this lovely Sunday evening? We're back in Johto, not doing anything crazy or specific, just kind of running around, doing dailies, and leveling up the cuties. I was kind of thinking of doing, like, maybe Kirby or Mario 64 today, but I am too tired for anything that requires response time at the moment. Because, of course, after work, I had, like, another, like, adulting task that was supposed to be, like, 15 minutes that turned into an hour. Didn't get sleep until 5:30 this morning. Oh, no. Woke up at my normal time, so running on 4 hours of sleep. I am so sorry, Rain. Ah. I think for people who want to use trade Evo Pokemon during their run and don't own a second console and don't know anybody who wants to trade, it still sucks for them. Yeah. Well, no, like, I'm very fortunate that I have, you know, I tend to buy multiple versions. I have multiple of various consoles because, well, I'm not necessarily monetarily privileged, but video games are my only hobby. That sounds a lot worse than it is. It's just, you know, the neurons diverge. So, it's a good old case of being really, really into that one thing. You guys know this. Why am I explaining this? But, you know, it's like, even then, it can be a pain in the butt. Hello, Squirrel arrives! Yay, LD! How are you doing today on this lovely, Sunday evening? For Gen 4 and 5 games, I can trade with myself, but Gen 6 Plus, I have to live with never getting any of them, and for Gen 8 and 9, I have to rely on you, but it'll be nice to have it on my own. Yeah. Like I said, we need to crowdfund you another 2DS. Come on, guys. I think if we all pitch in like 15 or 20 bucks, we can get Maddie a 2DS off eBay. Ooh, let's get them that white one that has the green buttons. You know, like the really pretty mint green buttons? What am I doing? Going to Mount Silver to... Okay, no, Goldenrod. I'm doing Away, in dire need of gym, but I haven't been able to because sleep deprivation. Yeah. I know, you got the insomnias. You're a 1%er, LD. You're so lucky. Because the thing is, my mom also had this thing where, she would get all of the incredibly low side effects from almost every medication. In the one I bought for myself with my own money and accidentally crushed, I would like to undo that part of history. I might be able to help that happen. Talkie up for just a moment. Grab Fritter. Just made an investment of an external CD drive and some blank CDs. I'm tired of subscription-based services. And I want for my music that I use for my music to play ads every 15 minutes. I'll just make 5 more emotes to justify it. Deal. Actually. I am broke once more. You see, the thing is, I made the incredibly smart and sexy decision to, buy this discounted controller that I probably didn't actually need and pre-order, Tales of Eternia Remaster in the same paycheck, so, your girl's living on ramen, baby. Not really. I actually pre-bought all my groceries a few weeks ago, so. The side effects that aren't even covered on the list, so special. The #1 squirrel in the 7 seas. You know, LD, I did not even do it on purpose, but I do love that both of our VTuber Sona character models are big, wide, open-mouth smile with one big tooth showing. $80 for a 2DS in my favorite color. I got like a week of use out of. I was probably so sad. I'm pretty sure you were. I am fairly sure I was there. And you had a very understandable crash out. $80 for 1 week is the kind of subscription services these companies dream of. Week 1 after getting paid. All those new things you wanted a week ago in Impulse bought. Week 2 after getting paid. Ice soup. Yeah, I'm currently in the ice soup phase until my next check. I always go back to the fact that I got a free code Mario Kart 7 gave to you and you ended up loving it. Feel better. Well, I mean, that is a thing, is, oh yeah, another free return TM. Let's fucking go. Yeah, and LD have very similar vibes. It's the rodent energy, true. Week 1, ice soup. Week 2, grilled ice. You see, that's the thing is, I have this really terrible habit of I keep paying my bills and buying groceries, which are, like, really fucking expensive. That's, like, hundreds of dollars. Mott's and LDS. It's okay, I know what you meant. Yep. Mott's and LD. One is in your walls, the other's biting your nuts. In your trees outside. Gotta get some icicles for nice ice kebabs. I don't know any nuts like that. But we're all a little nuts here. I completely misread that. Dyslexia. I will soon. Vine boom. Back to roasting Tangalas. There's gotta be a better place to level up in Johto, and I just don't know where it is. Actually, you know, that emote by Kubi reminds me of one of my favorite emojis, which is like the blush face, but like stretched way too far. Probably like that in one place. I don't know where anything is. I am lost. Lost Rain sounds like one of those Chemco RPGs that's on like everything, and it looks kind of like not a real Super Nintendo game, but what your brain thinks of as a Super Nintendo game in your head when you don't know what they really look like. But then you play it, and it's actually kind of surprisingly good. The trick is, when you're lost, you decide you're not, and suddenly you're just exploring on a walk. Not all who wander are lost. I'm not lost, I'm just wondering what the fuck is going on most of the time. Works every time. I mean, you can't be lost forever, you'll eventually get somewhere. Yeah, it's actually a really good metaphor for life. Trick nature into thinking I'm not lost. Noted. Home is where the grilled ice is, after all. Spicy hot take. I have not even been live for 30 minutes. Why am I surprised when I say that every time? I shouldn't be surprised anymore. Okay, spicy hot take. So this one's going to lean a little more positive. Even though it is very frequently beneficial to me, I think generally Xbox as a brand and its legacy in the gaming industry is grossly undervalued because the popularity of Halo and in general Xbox Live and the environment around that in the 2000s pretty much ruined the brand's image for enthusiasts. Because most people I know who talk about Xbox who weren't Xbox kids, you know, begrudgingly tolerate it to play games like Blue Dragon or Lost Odyssey or something. But I mean, honestly, that's why it's so depressing to see what happened post Xbox One and what happened to the brand after Game Pass and all that stuff. Because, like, I don't really think Xbox is that much of a dude bro console. It's just happened to be the consoles the dude bros gravitated toward. Well, specifically the 360. Really, it's just the 360. The 360 set the entire tone for Xbox as a brand for most people, which is understandable because not only is the 360 their most successful system, but it had a really long life, and the OG Xbox had a really short life. Because the original OG Xbox is just really freaking weird, but in a cool way. I know a lot of people say it's the true successor to the Dreamcast, which I don't believe. It has a lot of Sega games on it. It had a lot of games on it that would have come out for Dreamcast, probably, but I don't feel like it's a Dreamcast successor at all. I feel like it is its own weird Galapagos. And none of the later Xboxes really reflect the original that much. And I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of bad stuff with Xbox. Like I said, I think Game Pass was a really boneheaded idea. It was very consumer-friendly at first, but that wasn't sustainable and it didn't bring enough people to Xbox. The brand is suffering from gross mismanagement, but again, like I've mentioned before on stream when it comes to game collecting, if you're going out looking for physical games that came out in like the PS4, like post 2017, you know, where PS4, Switch, and Xbox One were all together, is like, here you get a sub hot take in my hot take. I think the period between the Switch coming out and like the 5 years between then and maybe 2022, 23, when more games started moving to being on PS5 and Series X only, I think that was probably one of the best eras of gaming. Just point blank. And, like... Give me a sec, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. What I was saying is, like, if you go online looking for games, it is not as true as it was, but for most games, like, if it was on Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, the Switch version will... Well, like, I'm just going to throw a random price out there for proportions. Like, the Switch version will be, like, $35. PS4 version will be, like, $20 to $25. And then, like, the Xbox One version will be, like, $12 to $15. Which, like, as someone who owns all those platforms, that's very beneficial to me. Hi, Whoopi. How are you doing today on this lovely Sunday afternoon? You came right into me yapping about yet another hot take. Although another thing that has always mildly irritated me, even though I know why it ended up this way, is that the Xbox's button layout, aside from copying the letters of Nintendo's and just flipping them, some fuck-ass reason used the exact same colors as the Super Famicom's buttons and no one said anything about it. I mean, I feel like that's largely because, you know, most American people don't associate the red, blue, yellow, green with the Super Nintendo's buttons, because the North American Super Nintendo had the purple and lavender. Also, Whoopi, I love that little balloon friend. That is so cute. My head hurts, it's probably because I took an unnecessary nap at 5 for 2.5 hours. Like, okay, honestly, if you take a nap and you wake up feeling as bad or worse, you should get a refund on that time. Like, if you take a nap at 5 p.m. for 2.5 hours and you still feel like shit, it should still be 5 p.m. when you wake up. Like, that's a fucking ripoff. But oh my gosh, learning to get yourself out of the habit of taking naps is so hard. Like, because I hate to say it, but most of the time when I take a nap, I just wake up feeling worse. Or the same. There have been a few times when a nap has helped, especially if I'm so wiped out I can't do anything, but a lot of times it is better, at least for me, to try to make myself stay up and try to get a real sleep. Maybe even go to bed early, but closer to regular bedtime. Then again, when I was fighting my insomnia so bad, a lot of times I would take the nap opportunity just to have gotten any sleep at all. There are days when I wish I could take naps, unfortunately, some with insomnia. Once I'm up, I'm up. Naps are like 4 to 9 hour long, just turns me semi-nocturnal for a week. You know, I'm not really sure what level to get to go fight Red. So cute. It's from the hype train. You're so right. I want the time back. Could have been drawing. Yeah. It's like, well, I think his stuff is like mid 70s. I know his Pikachu is level 81, but it's also like an unevolved Pokemon, so I don't worry too much about that. Because I don't want to, like, over-level. I'm not trying to level match him or anything. Because I feel like most of the gym leaders and stuff like that... You're an unevolved Pokemon. It's true. I'm still in my cocoon. Aren't a lot of us? You know, I think the weirdest thing, and I feel like a lot of people within my age range have, like, I'm saying within my age range, probably being like me and most people younger than me, and this isn't 100% true, but I'm not sure how to describe it, but like, I don't ever feel like I became like I don't ever feel like I became a real adult in the way that other adults around me were when I was a kid. Like, I still use the word adults derogatory to refer to people the same way a kid or a teenager would. Even though some of those people are technically younger than me. So when we all forming a mystery dungeon team guild, you know, Rain, I don't know if you were around for this, but last year, just because I randomly felt like it, I actually did start a playthrough of Red Rescue Team that I actually do want to get back to playing sometime. Because, fun fact, I actually have not forgotten any of the games I've started on stream. My brain's just like that. There's some, like, I don't think I'm ever going back to Medieval, at least not on stream. Maybe I'll enjoy it more playing it on my own, but I bounced off that game pretty hard. It's me, Gavin. How you doing? Let's battle. My hobbies include taxes, golf, and talking about the weather, adults. I'll be waiting on Route 26. Give me a shout out when you're close. Okay, talk to you soon. I used to think as a kid that people who are 20 are doing every adult thing, working a big day job, married with kids, owning their own home. Now, 20 years is like a teenager plus one. Yeah. The normies. It's the normies! And it zooms in on a little picket fence and a house in a cul-de-sac. It's like, hi, my beautiful wife between the age of 24 and 36. I'm back from my job that pays over $200,000 a year. How are our 2.5 kids doing on this lovely evening? Oh, honey, I'm so glad you asked. I was in the middle of cooking dinner and somehow running every single task in the house while also having a chance to watch my soap operas. Too many adults have lost their whimsy and childlike wonder almost exclusively due to capitalism and work culture beating it out of them. 2.5 children and everything. Yee! The centaur child. Yeah, the other siblings are jealous because they're always the centaur of attention. Eh? Womp, 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 womp. Also, whenever I do get a VTuber model, like, actually ready and usable, I am definitely going to have a redeem where you guys can throw tomatoes at me. Tried too hard with that pun, I know. I try hard because I care. Who else is gonna take care of our 2.5 children? Jail time for Mouse. Oh, don't lock me up in mouse jail. Mousetrap time. She looks so stunning in orange. Centaur, I hardly know her. Well, orange is the color of cheese. Walking back over here to do the Cal battle. That's the thing, the daily thing I was trying to think of. Orange is a color of cheese. Okay, they're gonna start with Meganium, who's at the top. I swear, every time I come here to battle and the Meganium's at the start, I start with Johto on the front for some reason. The cheese cube is more of a yellow. Yellow is a kind of orange, just with less red in it. I mean, actually, orange is a kind of red. For the longest time, naming the color actually was named after the fruit. It wasn't really considered a separate color for a long time. Caltheme. But it wasn't considered a separate color for a long time. And, that's why people with, like, orange-colored hair are called redheads. There are a few other linguistic things like that, too. I like where it goes, wow. Fast doggo. Typhlosion, my love. I will say, LD, Hisuian Typhlosion in particular has a very you kind of vibe. And yes, we love Typhlosion in this house. It's always so hard when I start a Johto game because I love all the babies so much. I mean, honestly, though, I feel that way about a lot of the starter trios. Like in Sinnoh, I pretty much always go with Chimchar. But, like, for most other regions, it's just so hard to pick. But Johto especially, because I love all of them. I think Cyndaquil is typically what I went with for Johto. I lost. Darn. Well, you have a Johto playthrough coming up for us at some point, Rain. I myself picking Chikorita more. I mean, me too. Me too, me too. I always gone for fire types, I don't know why I just feel them. I can see that, though. Arson Squirrel, Arson Squirrel. Burning down the house. So it's like, it's hard to sing that and actually have it sound like, you know, like the fire causing and not like arse, like a butt. No, out of the problematic rodents, I'm the one with the big butt. Fire Dog's Houndoom. I love Houndoom so much. Ah, I wish. Oh my god, it gets to me so much. I freaking love Houndoom, and you could not have Houndoom on a team in a normal playthrough until fucking Platinum came out 9 fucking years after Crystal. Or, well, 10 years after Gold and Silver in Japan. Because, yeah, you can actually have Houndoom on your team in Platinum. You can find it. Which is good, because Sinnoh really needed more fire types. It made me very happy with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. With the Grand Underground. They actually added a bunch of Pokemon encounters that weren't normally available in like regular Diamond and Pearl, and you can get Houndoom, and I actually had one on my team for my Brilliant Diamond playthrough. Give me just a sec. I still have a picture in my phone that I saved. I think. Maybe. I'm trying to remember, like, my Brilliant Diamond team was, like, I think, Empoleon, Houndoom, Luxray, Staraptor, which you can say, oh, the standard, Luxray and Staraptor in a Sinnoh team. Well, I had actually never used either of them in a full playthrough before. I mean, Sinnoh's Stardust is Fire-type. Why the greed? I think you find it more going from Veilstone to Pastoria. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. I'm trying to remember which in these, like, 15 fuck-ass folders I had the picture saved in. In my phone. I've only picked Turtwig my very first time playing Diamond. I want to use them again. I mean, okay. I have a history with Piplup. Fucking... The first ever time I played Diamond, I started with Piplup, and in general, I was having such a bad time, I restarted the game from the beginning after maybe like the third gym. And then I chose Chimchar and actually finished the game. But yeah, Diamond and Brilliant Diamond are the only times I've actually finished a Sinnoh game, like, all the way and beaten the Elite Four. I don't know what it is, man, but I just have a really hard time with the DS versions of Sinnoh. Brilliant Diamond was fun. I would actually love to play Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl again. Hard time in what sense? I don't know. I just remember struggling on almost every single fight. I remember really wanting to use Shellos, which I don't even think I did my playthrough with Infernape. I think I ended up having Weasel as my main water type, but, like, I wasn't vibing with any of the Pokemon. I was, like, struggling in every fight. I felt like Piplup and Prinplup were just really behind all the time. Like, they didn't really ever seem to have any moves or abilities or anything like that. I mean, granted, like, I was also going through a really difficult, depressive time when Diamond and Pearl came out. So I was pretty miserable in general, and that probably contributed. Because it's stuff like that where, like, anything that I would, like, power through and stomp my feet to nowadays, you know, like, the stomp your foot down, lock in, lean forward in the chair, and it's like, oh no, I'm gonna win this bitch. You know, I'll say, like, a god fucking damn it, and then I will, like, lock in and do it. Unless it's that fucking turtle in the waist-high water in that fucking level in Kirby's Adventure. Fuck that guy. It's like accuracy's low and crit chance is very high. Yeah. That's definitely a thing, too. At least I felt like I ran into that a lot. That, and in general, like, this might be a Mandela effect thing, but I feel like there is so much grass and water that you fight in Sinnoh that Piplup just doesn't feel like it gets to do a lot. Stat conditions are more prevalent. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not sure how much is that how I was feeling at the time, Mandela effect. Yeah, I don't know, it doesn't feel as egregious in black and white, even though I do feel like, yeah, the crit chance in black and white feels really high. But yeah, that's another thing. It's the same reason it's, like, kind of hard to want to start with, Shit, my brain just stopped. Give me a sec. I know Mudkip is like the #1 speedrun Pokemon, and he basically owns the entirety of Hoenn. But in general, it's still really hard for me to get enthusiastic about starting with Mudkip, as much as I like Mudkip and Marshtomp, because starting with Mudkip or Piplup in their respective original games feels like you're locking yourself out of so much team possibility. There's also a lot of repeat Pokemon in Diamond, I think to a degree that happens in every game. Okay, my thing, and I think I've mentioned this before with Diamond and Pearl, and this does bleed over to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl as well, though not as egregious because of their placement in the release history. But the biggest problem, I think, with Diamond and Pearl is after coming out in the first 3 generations, so many overall complaints about Pokemon and its type balancing and everything like that was not fixed in Diamond and Pearl, and as a matter of fact, it exacerbated almost every problem from the first 3 generations to almost a breaking point. You know, things like weird anti-player design, you know, limited accessibility to a lot of types like fire and electric, continually reused typings like bug flying, normal flying, you know, like just the roster being heavily inundated with water and normal types. Because I feel like most of the Pokemon introduced in Generation 4, this probably isn't actually true, but just doing a playthrough makes it feel like this. It feels like most of the Pokemon introduced in Generation 4 that aren't babies or new evolutions are largely water and normal type. There's so many Honey Tree Pokemon most players never use. Well, yeah, that's the thing, is like, that's another layer, is like, if you don't do the Honey Trees, that locks you out of even more Pokemon you can't use in a playthrough. But even then, like, Wormadam and Vespiquen are very difficult to use in the original games. Mothim is alright, but it's the same effect as a lot of other Moth and Butterfly Pokemon, where, like, they're usable in the end game, but you're definitely going to feel the lower stats when you get to later parts of the game. But yeah, it's like, if you just do a normal run, you're hardly going to see any new Pokemon. Especially if you don't know about, like, having to go out of your way to get, like, Lucario, because there's a whole side quest you can just miss. So most of the Generation 4 Pokemon you'll see in a playthrough, if you don't feel like doing a bunch of side, or you just don't know about side stuff or the Honey Trees. Especially because there are probably a lot of kids who, you know, used a Honey Tree once or twice, just got like Spearow or whatever, and said, oh, okay, this is just, I'm not going to worry about this anymore. Wish I was a Honey Tree. Well, you're still sweet. Hi, Cole. How are you today? this lovely Sunday evening. Slightly off topic, but I really want Luminion to get a Mega. It's so forgotten about. It needs something. Actually, in my Platinum playthrough that I've been working on for the last 20 years, I do have a Luminion on my team. That sounds like sarcasm, but I am still on the same save file from when I bought Platinum in 2009. And every once in a while, I'll pick it up and play it for an hour or two and then put it back down for 6 months. Mostly because I am conflicted in the fact that I want to have a balanced team, but I'm also trying to play a Sinnoh game and trying to use things I haven't used multiple times before. I'm at 2%, but I wanted to say hey and I love y'all. Well, hopefully I can recharge you just a little bit, sending all my little cheesy rechargey waves to you. I made a little heart with my hands, but you couldn't see it. But trust. We will help recharge you. But yeah, Cole, we're playing some Crystal, just leveling up the cuties. I'm not even sure what level I want to get to before I go up against Red. Counted the new Pokemon in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum that are not starters, legends, or connected to old Pokemon. There's 55. 15 of them are normal or water. Or if you're Bibarel, you can be both. People wonder why teams look relatively the same in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. I mean, I realize that, like, if you want an electric type... Oh, Platinum's got more, but yeah, I know what you mean. Realize if you want an electric type in Diamond or Pearl and you don't go with Luxray, it's pretty much going to be Pachirisu. Because I'm trying to think, I don't even know if Pikachu's available in the main story in Diamond and Pearl. Pachirisu is a world champion, true. It's a lot harder to make support mons work in the single player game. With like single battles though. But Pachirisu is amazing and cute, it's true. We love our shockingly cute squirrels around here. Some of them aren't normal or water are very rare or borderline inaccessible. That too. Because there are so many Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl that are borderline inaccessible for a practical playthrough. Pichu's in the Trophy Garden. Don't remember the details. I do remember the details now that you remind me of it, and it's a pain in the ass. Squirrel power. Some days your squirrely girl is a little Pachirisu, and sometimes they are Scrat from Ice Age. Not to mention some are version exclusives. The Trophy Guard, much like the Honey Trees, is a massive pain in the ass. Well, that's what I mean about player-unfriendly design. Sometimes they're both, true. Because honestly, weirdly enough, I feel like this was a thing that I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but a lot of Nintendo published games really leaned into player unfriendly design. Like Mario Sunshine is rife with it. Like Super Mario Sunshine is really mean-spirited in a way that first-party Nintendo games very rarely are. Like, sometimes it pushes into being as mean-spirited as, like, Lost Levels. But then again, Lost Levels... I feel like with Lost Levels, a lot of context gets lost on it. Is that when Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels came out, it was targeted specifically at a niche audience of people who mastered Super Mario Bros. To the point of memorization. I know it's called Super Mario Bros. 2, but in the context of the mid-'80s, which keep in mind, this is a game that originally came out in 1986. It came out less than a year after the first Super Mario Bros., I believe. With Lost Levels, first of all, it was a launch title for the Famicom Disk System, and it was half the price of a regular NES game. It was, like, it's basically the equivalent of, like, a $25 or $30 game. So, more or less, Lost Levels was intended to be an expansion pack to the original Super Mario Bros., which is why I think the American name, or the, I guess, international, non-Japanese name of the Lost Levels is a much better name for the game than Super Mario Bros. 2. Because Lost Levels really is a level pack, and that was its intention. It was intended to be an inexpensive bonus add-on. You know, you couldn't do DLC in 1986, but that's basically what it was intended to be. And it was made for the super hardest of hardcores. Mario Sunshine doesn't really have that. It's just mean for no reason a lot of times. And like I said, I feel like there are other games around that era that popped into it. Wind Waker is not necessarily mean that much, but it does have the whole Triforce quest, which just drags the game to a standstill, because it's very much definitely a rushed game. As much as I love Wind Waker, it's very rushed. So I was trying to find a Chansey and steal the Lucky Egg off the Trophy Garden. I was looking for more than an hour and found 4 of them. I don't need a Lucky Egg, I just thought it'd be cool to have one. I'm so Chansey, you already know. Carrying my Lucky Egg all around the Safari Zone. I knew you meant 4 Chanseys. I'd figured if you had gotten 4 Lucky Eggs, you'd be, like, running through the streets celebrating with, like, fireworks streaming everywhere. Little Pachirisu running behind you, just little sparkly firework sparkles everywhere, catching a meteor in its bare hands. I only thought to look after I evolved the Pokemon I wanted to evolve, so it's just for the love of the game. Understandable. Of which I don't have much, not the Finding Lucky Egg game. I think I have, in my history of Pokemon, aside from, I think some of the games just give you a Lucky Egg as part of, like, a side quest or something, but I think I've maybe gotten 1 Lucky Egg off of a Chansey ever in my, 30 years almost of playing Pokemon at this point. Because, yeah, I have played every main series entry at launch since Red and Blue came out in 1998. Or at or close to launch. I think it was like 4 or 5 months after Gold and Silver came out before I actually owned them. Which is really weird to think about. Like, especially as excited as I was for Gold and Silver. But prior to, like, the PS2 era, release dates and stuff were a lot more loosey-goosey. And I feel like games just had a longer shelf life of being hyped anyway. You haven't crumbled to dust yet with the passage of time? Built to last. That's right. That's the magic of time blindness. I always feel like I'm ambiguously somewhere between 28 and 32 and have no idea that any time has passed. See, the true anti-aging fountain of youth is not knowing how long it's been or what's going on. The secret is cheese, keeps the insides fermented. I am dangerously cheesy. Shit, didn't Gavin challenge me to a battle? I hope he still wants to battle. I think that's been like 20 minutes ago. I'm coming, Gavin. I didn't forget until I did, until I didn't. No, my actual secret is making myself actually stop things and rest when I need to. I forgore, but then I remember, but then I forgore again. It's true. But no, like, having enough awareness of what your body's doing to just stop, even when you don't want to stop something. And it's really hard when you're neurodivergent, especially if you get in the zone. It's a hidden art, you aren't supposed to know about that. And of course, like, getting really irritated when I feel like everything's terrible and there's no meaning to life, and the world is horrible and everything should burn, and then I eat something with protein in it, drink a lot of water, and go exercise, and it's fine again, and I'm like, God damn it. You mean I can't just survive on bread and cheese? Speaking of, look. This one simple trick lets you live so much longer. It's called rest. Capitalists hate her. Alrighty, everybody grab your favorite caffeine-free, sugar-free beverage of choice. Got my water tumbler right here. And take a nice big sippy. Also, like, I'm set on liquid. My bowl of udon has so much soup base. Well, you know what, LD? That is caffeine-free and sugar-free. Okay. Classic case of, it's everything truly the worst it's ever been, or have my basically body needs not been met for the day? Answer is both. I wouldn't say everything's the worst it's ever been. Just some things. Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to be optimistic here. A small, tiny fraction of things are really, really bad. It just so happens that those really bad people happen to be the center of every attention right now. I mean, as much shit as I've been through and as not perfect as things are in my life right now, I still get to play video games on the internet while talking to my favorite people in the whole world. And I kind of even earn a little bit of money for doing that, and that's pretty fucking awesome. The horrors resist, but so do I, as well as the indomitable human spirit. Hi, I've been waiting for you. This time, I'm gonna win. World bad, but worlds still have many wonderful people. Like I said, it's not even the world that's bad. It's a tiny selection of people with big egos and big britches who think they're way more important than they actually are. So I genuinely do believe that there are an overwhelmingly majority of good people in the world. I think that the average person is more good than bad. But we're all humans, we're all flawed, and a lot of people just don't know any better. Or they've been raised in a culture and a society that they don't see an escape from, that they don't see a bright side to, that they're just doing what they can to survive. Kingler! We love Kinglers in this household. But I still gotta blast you a psychic. Most humans only used to worry about, like, what a dozen people are doing in, like, a football field's worth of space. If someone sucked, they just threw them out and that was that. Global unsolvable evil is not something our brains know how to cope with yet. Animals don't even understand the concept of glass. Things that give me hope. The skyrocketing rise of clean energy, New York City being the epicenter of an extremely positive movement. Fwins. Yeah, life is even tougher. You know, I think you bring it on yourself, Gavin. Alan, hi.
Hello, it's me, Alan. Mott's, are you raising your Pokemon properly? I read in a book that you should raise any Pokemon you catch with love and care. By the way, a wild Bellsprout escaped on me yesterday. A computational error on my part. See you later.
Can confirm. New York City is sunshine and rainbows. Hi, 7th. How are you doing today on this lovely Sunday evening? You see, that's why you can make it 7th, because you live in New York, the epicenter of positivity in the United States right now, and hopefully a precursor to the future of the rest of the country. That's why you can endure reading a top 100 Game Boy games list and Gargoyle's Quest not being on there. And I was actually going to mention this on Blue Sky 7th. Not only did they snub Gargoyle's Quest, but Gargoyle's Quest 2 has a Game Boy port in Japanese that has a fan translation, and that got snubbed too. Homie managed to snub Gargoyle's Quest twice. Local evils can be solved, semi-local as well. It's very easy to slip into feeling like what you do or do not do has the world's fate behind it. Trying to think, because I know I have Gargoyle's Quest 1 on 3DS Virtual Console, and I think I've got Gargoyle's Quest 2 on Wii U Virtual Console. Is my Wii U tablet actually charged? I'm pretty sure I charged it. Hey, it is. Yeah, most people don't even know about the port of GQ2. True. No one person's meant to solve social issues, and there will always be people who exist that will be on your side to help you. Like I said, I am also very fortunate because I think my big advantage and the reason I can always see the good in the world is because I grew up in a household where love, patience, understanding, and acceptance were the norm. And, well, my Wii U tablet is, batteries on red, but yes, I do in fact have Gargoyle's Quest 2 on my Wii U. Most people actually do like helping people for the sake of helping people, something capitalists cannot even fathom. Like, that's why when I have extra money, like, I've done this a few times. Like, if I see something on a friend's Steam wish list and it goes on dirt cheap sale, instead of being like, oh, hey, that game you wanted is on sale, I'll just fucking buy it. Because why not? Like, cut out the middleman and they get a new game. And I love spreading the fun of video games and I love making people happy. Also, a weird neurodivergent thing in my brain is one of the few things that reliably give me the happy chemical is buying a video game, which is not practical or good to constantly do that. But Wii's battery being on red was a solid social issue for it is a social issue. The Wii U really should have had better battery life if that tablet was going to be that integrated into the console's functionality. And also, it should have not had a proprietary charger. Like, the Wii U Pro Controller uses mini USB. Why does the tablet not use that? But yeah, Rain, that's why, like, Chasm was $2.99, and I'm like, oh, hey, that's on Rain's wish list. Just buys their Chasm. I'll make your charger proprietary. Oh. See, the thing is, the Wii U's tablet actually does that same thing that the 3DS does, where if the battery's about to die, it starts flashing the red light. And I'm sorry, but like, when the red light's flashing on your 3DS and you're not sure where the charger is, it either starts playing the drowning music, like in real life, starts playing the drowning music from the Sonic games, or it starts playing the low HP theme from Pokemon Black and White, and Black 2 and White 2. Though, they made a mistake with the low HP theme, because in Black and White and the sequels, when that theme comes on, it does not make me stressed. It makes me put my DS down and start busting a fucking move because that's a bop. Or busting a groove, if you prefer. Puzzling your bauble. Also, 7th, I think I mentioned this in your chat yesterday, because you were talking about confusing bust a move and bust a groove. I think it got, like, cycled through really fast. Okay, the reason you get them confused is not a U issue or a dyslexia issue. Bust-a-Groove's Japanese name is Bust-a-Move. And it was previewed in magazines in the 90s as Bust-a-Move. And like the Japanese name is, in English, Bust-a-Move. They actually had to change it because they were using the title Bust-a-Move for the international versions of Puzzle Bobble. Which I will never understand why they changed that, because Bubble Bobble was released as Bubble Bobble in all regions. It's also very fun to say. Only did that for Unova because if you're dying in the USA, your best option is to just vibe it out. You know what? It's like, because you guys remember there was that movie that was a documentary movie about 50 Cent called Get Rich or Die Trying. The healthcare options in the US are get rich or try dying. Oh, also, since revives can be found in the underground in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, it makes me think taste of some kind of chemical compound. I think somebody said that they felt like they would taste like Tums or like the chalky stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see that. Though honestly, after you said that, probably then, yeah. See, at least I know you agree with it. You know, it's interesting. Like, it's kind of unclear to me what the revives are actually supposed to be. Like, yeah, they are some, like, diamond-shaped, off-white, yellow-tinted thing. But, like, are they crystals and you hold them up in the air and they revive the Pokemon? Are they something the Pokemon can eat? Like, you know, a Tums, a chalky thing like that? Meaning that it said that because of a vibe, but now I have evidence for it. You get 2 more and you can use your level 3 super. You know, as somebody who has always been a fan of Marvel vs. Capcom, largely from the Capcom side of the fan base, because most things I know about Marvel, I know from Marvel vs. Capcom, cultural osmosis, the fact that my mom kept up with the movies or watching Seventh Force's videos. See, revives are... Oh, okay, that explains it. Thank you, Maddie. But, I do wonder how people who play it largely just as a Marvel game that happens to have Street Fighter and some other characters they don't know anything about, I wonder if they wonder why the hell, like, one guy in Marvel 3 in the red suit is, like, 3 feet tall with a giant head. It also makes me wonder, like, with Amaterasu, if they wonder why, it's just, you know, a wolf that has red paint on it. It's a thing with Amaterasu, though, is, like... Would Okami have enough cultural cachet for someone who's mildly enthusiastic about video games to even kind of maybe know that it's a thing? Because I'm kind of 50-50. I don't feel like it did when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, but I feel like it might now. Probably not. Like, it definitely did not when Marvel 3 came out in 2011, for sure. Silly Kea, Okami's the dog. The fun thing you can do with medical bills is if you ignore them long enough, a secondary company will buy your medical debt and pester you to pay it. And if you ignore them long enough, they'll stop and write it off as a loss for taxes, and the government will just pay them. I know. It's fun. You see, they should compensate you that way for whenever you take a nap and wake up feeling worse. You just get like $20,000 for like for taking that loss. It's like waking up feeling worse than you did when you lay down should be a tax write-off. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, it's like, yo, I know you got a fucking migraine, but here's $8,000. Sorry. Also, my mic didn't cut off. My brain just stopped for a second. How often I get migraines, I'd be rich in no time, or at least not in medical debt. Medical debt's such a weird thing conceptually, because, like, especially because you can go into medical debt through no fault of your own, just because, like, I mean, you know, if somebody calls an ambulance, if you have, like, an accident or a heart attack or something, you know, you wake up and you're suddenly tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And sure, you're alive, but it's like, you know, you can just get slapped with debt that, depending on your situation, can follow you for years or decades, and you didn't have any say-so in the matter. Also, 7th streaming Kingdom Hearts recently actually kind of got me thinking about, like, how I want to stream Kingdom Hearts when I finally get around to it. Because the easiest thing would probably be to play just the Final Mix version off my Xbox One. But then again, like, I feel like there's a certain experience to the vanilla PS2 version of Kingdom Hearts that Final Mix just doesn't kind of replicate. It's in a weird spot because a lot of the, I'm not even sure what you call them, the Royal Editions, Final Mix Editions of games in Japan were developed with the idea that you are buying this game a second time on the same platform. Because the Final Mix of Kingdom Hearts, even though it's the version that's on every modern platform, feels like it was made with the idea that you've played through the vanilla one at least once. It's incredibly fucked up that the US charges people for needing an ambulance. Yeah. To the point where there have been several stories of people who were, like, having some kind of problem where they need to go to the hospital, and they would get an Uber to take them to the hospital instead of calling an ambulance, because it's exponentially cheaper to pay somebody $30 to $50 than several thousand. Because, like, with Kingdom Hearts 1, and I think I've mentioned this before, but, like, the PS2 version still has a little bit of lingering PlayStation 1 energy that I really like. That kind of gets buffed out with Final Mix, largely for the better. Because, you know, like, one thing I feel like a lot of people forget about PS2 Kingdom Hearts 1 is that you can only control the camera with the shoulder buttons. The right analog stick actually mirrors the D-pad. Though you can actually click the right stick when in the PS2 version of Kingdom Hearts 1. And it will work the same as the confirm button. So you can kind of play the whole game with your hand on the two analog sticks and then your other fingers on the shoulder button, aside from needing to hit jump every now and then. I don't know if that'd be comfortable or responsive enough to play through Kingdom Hearts 1, but you can. But then again, like, that's also a time when dual analog was around, but games were a lot more experimental with what you could do with two sticks. Because, you know, this is around... like, Kingdom Hearts 1 was not that far from, like, Ape Escape, which let the second analog stick do just about everything except control the camera. Though, Ape Escape 1 on PS1 actually has the D-pad take over the camera, which would set the standard for Monster Hunter players for many years later. Doing the good old PSP claw. Oh, shit. I'm trying to think of other games that, like, kind of did interesting things with both analog sticks. Because by the end of the, well, heck, by the middle of the, like, PS2, GameCube generation, you know, it was pretty much locked in stone that the second stick was your camera. Because I know with, interestingly, with the GameCube Metroid Prime 1 and 2, it does not have dual analog aiming, despite being a first-person game. You pretty much just shoot straight ahead, like in Jumping Flash or something. Or you can, like, press and hold a button to, like, plant yourself on the ground, and then you can move around aiming with the left stick. And the C-stick in the original Metroid Prime was kind of just, like, a hot swap for some of your abilities and stuff. Though, invertedly, there are some games in the PS1 era that actually caught on to the idea and actually use the right stick as a camera. Notably, the PS1 version of Grandia actually does have right analog stick camera control. Because I was playing it on the Switch version, this is a couple years ago, because I actually got the limited run physical print of Grandia 1 and 2 on Switch. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I was moving you're not even thinking about it, just because it's so natural at this point to move the camera with the right stick. And I'm like, did they add this for the remaster? And then I actually went back, because I have the PS1 emulation of Grandia that you can buy for PS3 on the PlayStation Store, which is also only like $6. So if you still got a PS3 or Vita, go buy Grandia for dirt cheap, because it's an amazing game. But yeah, even the PS1 original, you can use the second stick to move the camera, which is pretty cool. Because there are a lot of games on PS1 where you can use the left stick to move if they have analog support, and the right stick just literally doesn't do anything. I feel like it took a little while for kind of game devs and stuff to kind of figure out what to do with the right analog stick. $195 hours of Crystal. I'm so glad you guys have hung out with me and just everything with my streams and stuff, because, like, I don't know, I'm just, you guys actually show up, come by, hang out, want to actually watch me, even when I'm not particularly doing anything super interesting. You just come by and hang out and chat and stuff. And I know, like, every streamer and internet creative person says stuff like this, but it really does mean a lot. Especially because, like, you know, I don't have a big VTuber model on screen yet or anything like that. And sometimes I'm pretty low energy because I had to go to job. But, like, I mean, I feel like a lot of creatives, when they do say that, they really do mean it. Because putting yourself out there is scary, and it's a lot of work. And, like, I've been streaming for a year, which is still really surreal for me to think about. I still feel like I just started. Right now you're talking to your friends. Not that a streamer saying their audience don't mean it, but it's a different situation. I mean, I'm grateful that you guys are my friends. Always here for mouse time when possible. Yay! But it's like, I wouldn't think any differently of you guys if you just wanted to go do something else. Even if that something else was just go spending time on your own playing Slay the Spire for another 2,000 hours. And I also never hold it against anybody for not being here, like, you know, especially, like, I do feel a little bad that, a lot of my homies in Europe can't really make it very often because, I'm usually streaming during their insomnia hours. Okay, listen. Wait, come back! No, trust me, I can't say anything because, like, at the drop of a hat, I will just start playing Castlevania Aria of Sorrow again. And I feel so bad because I own the Advanced Collection multiple times over, and I'm like, okay, this time I'm going to do a full run of Circle of the Moon. Or I'm going to do a full run, finally going to finish Harmony of Dissonance for the first time. And then I just end up playing Aria of Sorrow again. It's like, the temptation's too powerful. Yay, welcome back. No, trust me, I very much understand, Rain. You know, you give a neurodivergent person a deck building game, especially one with a funky art style, and you know, if you add on anything with random generation, then that's just the next 1,000+ hours of that person's life. Because, see, okay, thinking about it just now, Rain, I think I've decoded it. And why it's roguelikes, why it's deck builders, okay? Because, like, when you're autistic and have ADHD, your brain is in this constant war where the ADHD part craves new and unexpected stimulation, but the autistic part wants comfort, consistency, and familiarity. But a game that's a roguelike deck builder can give you both, because you have control over the cards you have, because you make your deck, but they come out randomly, so you still get unexpected outcomes. It's comfortable and familiar because you know the gameplay loop, but it's also new and exciting because you can get different enemies, different story paths, different things to pop up. So it's like the perfect storm because it keeps feeding both sides with the combination. You gave a trans woman a card game? What's wrong with that? See, I need to fully convert. I need to buy myself a pair of knee-high striped socks. See, an underrated card game that I really love is the Dragon Ball Z collectible card game from Score that ran from, like, I think 2000 to, like, 2003 or 4. It had a really unique gameplay loop that wasn't, like, Magic adjacent. The ADHD, normally at odds with each other, finally harmonizes with the roguelike. Get everything in the frequently bought together tab too, for good measure. I am unstoppable until I hit Burnout. You know, I've never actually played any of the Burnout games. I know they're like considered like PS2 era staples. Granted, I'm not super big on racing games that are about a car that much anyway. Because most of the racing games I like involve the word kart somewhere in the title or game design. Though whenever I do play like a car racing game, I always feel like I'm not a person driving a car. I'm just playing as a car. Like this car is going out on a nice. Like, this car is going to become the champion of whatever racing circuit I'm racing in, the Sega GT or the Daytona. Daytona! I cannot think of the Burnout games and not hear the Smiling Friends bit. Yeah. That too. I got Burnout 2 on PS2. Kea hates the movie Cars. Point and laugh. Oh guys, you guys are getting a free spicy hot take, and it's not even a video game related one. Not super into Pixar. I don't hate them or anything, but I just don't think their movies are fantastic or terrible. I think most of them are pretty okay. And I don't know why people go as wahoo crazy for them as they do. Like I said, I don't think they're bad. They're definitely... They make some good movies that are worth watching, but I don't think they've ever made anything that's grabbed me in like a cultural zeitgeisty kind of way. The hopping lamp is coming for you. You know, I want to be the letter I to somebody's hopping lamp. I honestly think Burnout 3 might be the best racer on the console. Speak your truth. Oh boy. I'll get in trouble if I speak too truly. I'll say, like, I guess with the Burnout games, if I ever find them at the thrift store for like $5, I will give one a try. This you? Am I being underscored? Oh, it's the letter I flattened. I get it. It took me a minute. Tingala. You see, one of the very nice things about like the older Pokemon games is that you can just like set the controller or console down and just like click the buttons with one hand or offhandedly hit them. You don't have to use your thumb. Because, like, as much as I love the post-Sword and Shield Pokemon games, and I do stand by my assertion that I think the Switch era is probably the best overall era of Pokemon, as far as, like, the games themselves go, I think one of the biggest things we lost from the move to big consoles and fully featured controllers and all that stuff was the accessibility of just, like, 3 or 4 buttons and a D-pad was all you need. Switch is great, being able to attach the controllers and resting your arms versus... Yes, it so is. Because like I said, I always, even though I don't particularly have big hands or anything, I always felt the older Joy-Cons were a little bit uncomfortable to use individually, even with the little clickety-clack add-ons. But the Joy-Con 2s for the Switch 2, oh my fucking god, those things are amazing. They're amazing separately, they're amazing in the Joy-Con grip. Like, one of the best controller glow-ups of all time, like, without question. I'm a little on the fence with Sword and Shield. I still like them, but I think Scarlet and Violet Legends are where 3D Pokemon truly flourished. I enjoy Sword and Shield a lot because they feel like a perfect bridge between the 3DS era and the modern Pokemon era. It's like, I feel like Sword and Shield took what they wanted to do with the 3DS games and, like, really clinched it and actually fully did it. And then from there, they could move on to the more open design and stuff. I think the wild area could have been executed a little bit better. It both felt too big and too small at the same time. But even then, I feel like the wild area was fun and memorable. But I still feel like the instanced areas with the fixed camera in Sword and Shield were still the best areas. Those looked gorgeous. They were fun to explore. I love Balloonly. I love with the mushrooms and everything. I love Stow on Side. Stow on Side is like one of my favorite locations in any Pokemon game. Just the vibes, the atmosphere, the music.
I've studied quite a bit since then. I've gotten a lot better. I'm hanging out on Route 36. Can you come down for a battle? See you later.
All right, let's go hang out with Alan. Meet 36. So he's south of Akritique. I would go live in Mushroom Town in a heartbeat. I gotta say, though, like, this started a little bit in Sword and Shield, but one of my all-time favorite things with modern Pokemon games, and they especially did a wonderful job with this in ZA, is just going regular places where people live, and Pokemon are just around. You know, like Fletchlings sitting on a lamppost, the Swirlix sitting on top of that one little berry hut every once in a while. It's just like, stuff like that just makes the world feel so rich and real. Why did I go over to the PC? Let's do a quick save at a game real quick. So quick, I said quick twice. Double quick. They should make a game that takes place in a city with a bunch of Pokemon. It would never work. I gotta say, like, as much as I love Gold, Silver, and Crystal, I'm actually really glad that the modern Pokemon games have moved from following real life time like Animal Crossing to just having an in-game day-night cycle like a lot of other RPGs. Because, it's ironic for how many games I love that have this. I kind of don't like when, video games keep up with real time. Especially because there are some days where I just don't feel like engaging. And it feels like you get punished for it. And I don't want any of my games to turn into a chore. Opal's my favorite character from Sword and Shield. Opal is wonderful. Also, Sword and Shield has one of my favorite little bits of, like, use of the character's team building for storytelling. Because, you know, Hop always has his Wooloo, but when he starts to lose confidence in himself, he takes Wooloo off his team. But when he starts to resolve with himself and what he actually wants out of life, you know, he's got the fully evolved Wooloo Double back on his team. That's one of my favorite examples. And also, Silver, in the Hoenn game... Not Hoenn, fuck. I'm playing it right now. Silver in the Johto games, having a Golbat all the way through to end game, but after he loses to Lance and you fight him again later, he actually has it evolved into Crobat. So he kind of like, he doesn't want to admit it, but he did learn to trust his Pokemon. It was like Sword and Shield more than you did. I understand. Like I said, if you still have the games around, I would recommend maybe giving it another shot, because they've actually aged really well, and there was so much negativity around them when they launched. And there were so many people being sour and mad about it. Like, but I feel like they've aged better now that we know what comes afterward, that it's even easier to enjoy them for what they are. Because, I mean, I loved them at the time, even, but, you know, prior to Legends Arceus coming out, people just, like, were really venomous towards Sword and Shield. Which, like, I stand by what I said back then. If it hadn't been for the whole Dex cut situation, I don't think people would have been anywhere near as negative on the games. They were just angry and felt bitter and betrayed and looking for things to hate. But then again, that has, like, it's part of just an overall big thing I noticed is that, like, you know, Xbox or PlayStation or Ubisoft or EA or Activision can do just the most heinous, diabolical, anti-consumer shit. But when a Nintendo game does something even a little bit iffy, you know, they are raked over hot coals and called one of the worst companies of all time and shit. It's like, bro, half of Ubisoft games are just basically, you pay $70 to get a storefront so they can sell you things that don't do anything, that are already in the game. And it's like, you know, no Nintendo game even approaches something that heinous. But, you know, you would think that, like, freaking, you know, Reggie Fils-Aimé was going out into the streets gunning people down the way people respond to anything Nintendo does. It's like, yeah, I don't like game key cards. I'm not a fan of the Switch being $500, or Switch 2 being $500. Sure. I wish the Pro controllers were not $90. Yeah. But, gosh, that's not nearly as bad as what's going on everywhere else. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna sound really old by saying this, but man, do I really miss when, this isn't just a game console issue. I really miss when companies competed with each other by trying to give you the best product or service instead of, you know, competing with the customer over how fast they can lock you into an ecosystem and start screwing you over. Also, in general, I think one of the biggest strengths of modern Pokemon has also been storytelling. I think that just in general, the characters and stories in, honestly, most of the games since Sun and Moon have just been really well done, really enjoyable. Especially with, like Sword and Shield was really good. It felt like some of the character stuff was rushed, because it probably was. But, like, in general, both the Legends games and Scarlet and Violet just had fantastic character work, fantastic stories. Where, like, yeah, Sun and Moon is wonderful. Lily is baby girl. We love her. Yo, some of Sun and Moon's plot stuff near the end kind of low-key fucked me up, because I was not expecting them to do some stuff like that. I kind of don't want to spoil it, because I feel like there may or may not be people in this chat who may or may not have finished these games, or people watching my VODs. Hi. And so, like, I implore anyone watching to check them out. Arrezu, my beloved. Things, yeah, ZA. No, I've finished ZA. Gosh, I've put far too many hours into ZA than I probably should have. Because, like, with ZA is one of the first games in a long time where I completed the Pokédex in my main run. Not even, like, coming back to it months or years later to be like, oh yeah, maybe I'll fill out the Pokédex now. No, like, I was, like, locked into ZA super hard. Like, something in the game just clicked in my brain perfectly. And the story... Final bosses in games have been so cool. Yeah, like, just so much cool shit. Like I said, with ZA, legitimately multiple times saying, no fucking way. Especially because, like, it has been a complete joy. Because ever since Black and White came out, I have played every new Pokemon game blind. Like, the only things I would see was probably, like, the starters, whatever stuff was officially shown off. The story in the games is a tiny fraction of what they wanted to tell and had the space for. But it's like, as much as I love X and Y, I have a ton of nostalgia for them. I think the story was the one place they really faltered, because there was a good story underneath the hood there. You just never got to experience much of it. And ZA just, like, takes all of that and really brings it together. And it, like, retroactively even makes X and Y feel a lot deeper and more meaningful. Legends Arceus is probably famous final boss setup since Gen 2. It was really cool. Said this before, but I think the Legends games are probably the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game. Like I said, like I love the classic Pokemon formula so much, it's hard for me to say that, whether or not that'd be true for me, but like, dude, ZA and Arceus are still absolutely joyful, must-play games, so it'd be really cool to one day play a new Pokemon game with you in the same room, so we can see each other's immediate reactions. I hope so. I really do. It's like LD said, I think in I think it was either Thursday or Tuesday stream last week. You know, it's just like, God damn, I wish you guys were local. You know, I wish I could just like hop on the freaking bus or some shit and go to Maddie's house or LD's house and just, yo, homies, let's video some game. You're like Legends Arceus. ZA couldn't get into because of the combat, but I appreciate what it does. I really liked the combat, but I feel like that goes to your other thing, Seventh. You mentioned with Xenoblade the other day, is that like I feel like you have a hard time getting into cooldown-based combat systems. Pokemon Sleepover, yes! Internet friends are famously either your next-door neighbor you never knew about or on the literal opposite side of the world with no in-between. Yeah. Very picky about combat systems. Completely a me problem. I used to be like that really bad. Because, fun fact, Seventh, as much as I love Xenoblade, I bounced off the first game's Wii release combat system really hard. Because I hadn't really played anything like it. And I was seriously like, why won't my dude stop attacking? Why can't I just get a normal turn and play it like Xenosaga or Xenogears? You know, but like, after letting it settle into what it was doing and how the systems worked, I got it, like it finally clicked. Despite what I said at the time, Legends Arceus was a very fun game to play to me. It was very immersive, unlike anything I'd played, so it was really interesting. Yeah, that's the thing is like, with Legends Arceus particularly, I love ZA also. But, you know, ZA takes place in modern times and is much more tonally similar to, you know, just a regular Pokemon game. But with Legends Arceus, like, dude, that game makes you actually, like, fucking fear for your life sometimes in a Pokemon game. Like, it can lean into some horror game feelings just because you're like, oh fuck, oh shit, I have to get out of here. Because that game will let you just stride into your fucking death and will not stop you. And that is so fun and is such a change up for the series. Because I hope we do get another Legends game that takes place in a dangerous environment. Because a lot of people have been talking about a possible, like, Legends Unova adjacent game that, has like a Wild West kind of vibe, and dude, I would be all fucking over that. Alright, we're making a massive Pokemon sleepover with everyone in chat for the release of Weewa. Weewa! Probably give Xenoblade another shake, might stream it. That'd be awesome. Especially if you, because I think it's only a couple bucks for the, Switch 2 upgrade. And dude, Xenoblade in fucking 4K at 60 FPS is so surreal. After playing the series on underpowered hardware so long, I feel like I'm emulating it. It's so nice. Yeah, the upgrade, if you already have Xenoblade Definitive Edition, I don't think the Switch 2 physical is out yet, but it's coming. And all three Xenoblade games Switch 2 releases are going to be true physicals. Yeah, the Switch 2 edition of all of the Xenoblades do appear to be $70 as their starting MSRP, which, like, they were $60 games when they originally released, and it's a $10 upgrade, so... But I'm not sure if the Switch 2 of Xenoblade 1 is out physically yet. Because I know that the physical Switch 2 Xenoblade 2 upgrade is coming out, I think, in October. But the upgrade pack, if you already have the game, is, like, next week. Wait for those, then. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it... City-type settings are my least favorite type of place in games and real life. Battling is the least compelling part of Pokemon, so ZA had a strong sell, but of course I ended up loving it too. Because, I mean, if you can find a Switch 1 copy of Xenoblade Definitive Edition and upgrade it, you could save some money, but then you also wouldn't necessarily have the Switch 2 version on the physical cartridge, so it's like... kind of how you want to do a trade-off. Thing is, I already have physicals of 1, 2, and 3 on Switch 1, so I've just been buying the upgrade packs, though. One day, if when I'm sitting on the fat stacks, when I become a super amazing partner streamer who makes, you know, 6 figures a year, saying God fucking damn it, talking about dicks and playing video games that are older than most of my audience, then I'll go ahead and probably just buy them well, what I used to call them is vanity purchases, where you buy a game to have its physical in your collection when you don't necessarily need it. Like, my example is, like, I have a vanilla version of Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD Remaster on PS3, and I found a limited edition of that same game on PS3 at a GameStop, and I ended up buying it, so now I have 2 copies. Comes out this week. Oh, nice. Yeah, when if. I mean, like, I'm not a fan of $70 price tags on games, but the Xenoblades are worth it. Like, I'm biased, but there's a lot of game in those games. And they also all have amazing stories and characters that I won't spoil. And I am very excited for the Xenoblade 2 upgrade, because I think I mentioned this before, but Xenoblade 2 is like a top 5, maybe top 3 video game for me. Do they have blades? Yeah. When if I get around to starting it, might have to ping you for guidance. The first thing to know about Xenoblade: break, topple, and daze everything. I'm kidding, but I'm kind of not. But no, an under the hood thing to know about all of the mainline Xenoblade games: level ups matter more than just stats. Because if enemies are a higher level than you, they get buffs, and you get debuffed for being at a lower level. This swings in the other direction too. So taking on an enemy even 2 or 3 levels higher than you in a Xenoblade can result in you getting your face knocked in. Oh, break, topple, and daze are just status effects. They're like status debuffs that are very effective. You'll know when you're older. I mean, he technically will be older when he gets the games. You'll know when you're a week older. When you Xeno your blades. Alright, everybody. Grab all of your, every single drink you own. Grab them right now. Now, grab your favorite sugar-free, caffeine-free beverage of choice. I got my water tumbler right here. Gonna take a nice big sippy. Okay, even the stuff under the sink. Yeah, that's the reason why they call it Bleach. It's like a drink tie-in to that one anime series. You know how they had the Halo 3 Mountain Dew? Windex is sugar-free. But it is caffeinated. Yo, Maxos is at level 67. Damn it. Also, like, I have a lot of games series where I've bought several entries in the series and I really want to get into them. One of them is like the Like a Dragon / Yakuza franchise. And I'm at a really weird spot because I have Kiwami, like, for the first game, which is like the remake of the first game. Yakuza 0. And then I have Yakuza 6. I have Like a Dragon, which is the first one in the Ichiban series. And then I have Infinite Wealth, which is the second game in that series. But I, don't have any of the ones in the middle. I'm waiting for a good price on the Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 remaster set. Oh, I also have Kiwami 2, which is the remake of the second game. The first two games were originally on PS2. So, I'm missing the parts in the middle. Because I'm trying to get the set under $30, which, okay, I'm being a super cheapskate. 3 games for $10 a piece is fantastic. The centaur parts. Again with the centaurs. You know, a husband, a wife, and their 2.5 Yakuza games. Like a horse. God fucking damn it. Why is that so funny? Like a horse, infinite hay. 5 alone's kind of worth 30 on its own. Incredibly huge game. My problem is I'm getting to the point in my collecting where I have a lot of the big expensive games. And I have a lot of the cheapo games that I wanted. Or I lucked out and got some mid-priced ones for dirt cheap. But now I'm at the point where everything I want is between $30 and $50. Aside from new stuff coming out and stuff. So I'm like... I feel like 20 is the maximum I can throw away on something on a paycheck and not think about it. I feel like a dingle, because even though I'm not a big fan of game key cards, I really wish I had bought Bravely Default 1 when the Switch version was on some kind of special sale a month or two ago. Because I really... A dingle hopper? You know, yeah, to, straighten your hair up. Ah, Bravely Default, the thing I keep meaning to buy and forgetting. I keep meaning to buy and then backing out because, I don't know why. I've wanted the game since it came out for 3DS. I have never played the first Bravely Default. Actually, the only Bravely Default game I own is fucking Bravely Second. The one you cannot play standalone. Thank you, used game stores. The thing is, as much as I love the 3DS and the Vita and stuff, and as much as I have nostalgia for those consoles, I'm gonna be honest, most of the time if I can play on a TV with a controller, I'd rather do that. Or hell, it doesn't even have to be a TV. I like having a separate controller not attached to my device. I guess that's why, like, with the Switch, you know, it's like LD said, you can just detach the controllers and let your wrists rest. And just pop it up on a table with a kickstand or something. So in a weird way, the Switch and Switch 2 are like 3 consoles in one, because they can be like your classic GBA, PSP, Vita, 3DS handheld. You can be like a TV home console, which is how I usually use mine, and it can be kind of like this like tablet thing. It's just, God, the Switch is so fucking good, dude. How do they make it so good? Somebody give Nintendo a medal or something. Play the game with your hands behind your head. You can literally do that. Hell, if you detach the Joy-Cons, you can put one hand behind your head and the other one by your ankles. You can sit as bisexually in your chair as much as you fucking want to. Or pansexually in my case, but I should have called it something showcased the word. What's the word? Shift? Yeah. You can shift between modes. And it'll have the Fuck, I was gonna make a joke and I forgot. I love being neurodivergent. You should have called it something that should... I'm reading that again. Wow, okay, I'm tired. Oh shit, it has been more than 2 hours, goddamn. I was not even paying attention to the time. I got engrossed in talking to the homies. You guys are just too enjoyable to be around. How dare you? I briefly forgot people had fingers and press buttons. Like, how do you press the buttons? Shove the controller in your mouth and press it with your tongue? ADHD meds have worn off. I has been a bit, huh? You know, LD, I love the fact that, like, in forgetting that people have fingers, you don't think, oh, mash it with your chin or your elbow or something. You immediately go all in on freaky style. And that's one more thing I love about you. Also, the Joy-Con ones do fit in your mouth pretty cleanly. Not yours specifically, the generic second person you. Ambiguous syntax. But again, I don't know your mouth's life, it might. They do. I'm not saying I've tried, but I believe you. Okay, I think I will go for about 15 more minutes and then we'll wrap it up. I am having a lot of fun, but sadly I do have job tomorrow. Fun fact. Between last week and this week, I'm scheduled 6 days in a row, and they're all full days. Experiment we can try at the sleepover. True. I do have an extra set of Joy-Cons just in case I need to put one in my mouth. I'm very tired. Because my last day off was last Tuesday, and my next day off is Tuesday. Oh. But I don't want to talk about job because that's stupid and stinky, and I don't want to think about it. I mean, if it fits, it's going in my mouth at least once. You can't see me, LD, but, I pulled my glasses down on my nose, tilted my head slightly forward, and, like, widened my eyes. There was also a Vine boom, also probably. Please imagine all of this in your head. Also, one eyebrow went up. I didn't even do that on purpose. That eyebrow had a mind of its own. Sometimes I just slide into DreamWorks face. It just happens. Every day you work as stress-free as possible. Smile. You know, I have realized when I was looking back at some of the VODs and stuff, because I go check through a lot of my VODs to just make sure everything's working right, make sure like the upload on YouTube didn't corrupt or anything. And I think we're about at the end. We're not that far left of Kirby's Adventure, because I forgot it only has 7 worlds, and we're already most of the way through Orange Ocean, so... Hope your workdays are stress-free as they can be. If you see a squirrel outside your workplace, it's me, sending good vibes. Yay. Little squirrel outside with pom-poms, like, you can do it! Also, there's some kind of, like, joke in my head about, like, you know how Rocky and Bullwinkle in the cartoons always got called, like, Moose and Squirrel? So I guess, like, the two of us as a duo would be, like, Mouse and Squirrel, and there's a joke in there somewhere that I'd probably be able to find if I was more awake. Rocky and Bullwinkle, I remember, was a thing that was on, like, early morning reruns and stuff when I was a kid. Because Mom and I would watch it because, like, Rocky and Bullwinkle was something that she would watch when she was a kid. So she thought it was really cool that I got to watch it, too. I don't know if it was early morning reruns or nighttime reruns. It was something like that, but we would watch it together. Because they would have, like... They would run, like, Rocky and Bullwinkle. They'd run old Looney Tunes shorts. A lot of stuff like that. Old Tom and Jerry's. This was, like, sometime in the 90s.
Oh, hey, Alan. Well, it's me, Alan. Matsu, you're raising your Pokemon properly? I read in a book that you should raise any Pokemon you catch with love and care. By the way, we knocked out a wild Spinnerack just the other day. Studying up in advance worked. See you later.
Definitely watched a lot of Tom and Jerry reruns going up. That's cool. I'm glad they keep all those in circulation. But it's like I think someone had uploaded them to YouTube, not officially, and I don't think they're there anymore. But I caught a couple like Rocky and Bullwinkle episodes uploaded to YouTube, and like learning more about the cultural context of the time those cartoons were made. Holy fuck, those things were subversive as shit. I don't know how they got away with a lot of that stuff. But honestly, like, I guess that makes for some of the best art. It is wonderful going back to something you engaged with as a kid and having it mean something to you differently when you're an adult. It's like it grew up with you, even though it stayed the same. Two of my closest friends are a cat and a mouse, and as far as I know, you two never once tried to kill each other, so I guess my childhood is a lie. Or my adulthood is a lie. No, actually, Tom and Jerry are best friends, and it's all basically a big pastiche, but if Tom doesn't attempt to catch Jerry, he'll get thrown out. And then they'll get another cat that'll actually try to kill Jerry, so it's all an elaborate ruse, so neither of them have to get hurt. No? Oh. Are you also truly friends if you haven't tried to murder each other on a consistent basis? I mean, in Super Smash Brothers. Wait, that hasn't happened with you guys either, so... I mean, my personal favorite piece of Tom and Jerry media is the 90s movie, because they get to talk to each other and be friends. I'm very much a sentimental baby. But then again, like, even though I respect the art behind a lot of old cartoons, even as far back as being a tiny little kid, I preferred things with more logic and continuity. Because that's the thing, is like, with a lot of old cartoons, like the Looney Tunes and with Tom and Jerry stuff, there really wasn't a story being told in universe. It's more like the cartoon characters themselves were actors putting on different shows for you. Welcome to autism, half joking. It's like, it's not really joking at all. But it's like, a lot of those old cartoons are like stage plays. And, you know, like, this is the same troupe of actors putting on this week's show, this week's performance. It's interesting because even though a lot of the stuff he worked on was much more serious and had continuity, a lot of Osamu Tezuka's stuff and several other manga artists that he influenced also kind of leaned on that, where they'd have characters come back in a new role as a completely different character, like as if they were an actor. Heading over to Monogamy Town. Alrighty. But I do believe we will go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for coming by. Thank you everybody for hanging out with me and chatting with me while we just play a little Crystal and chill. I promise we will get back to the games I'm actually working toward finishing sometime in the soon. Shooby-dooby-dooby. Let's see here. Are any of the homies live right now on twitch.tv? No. Dang, the one day Kubi isn't streaming Pal World for 15 hours. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming by. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. I hope you guys can all get a comfy rascally sleep. It is Wednesday. Maddie, don't do this to me. I actually do remember that it's Sunday. And I only know it's not Wednesday because I'm actually off work Wednesday. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Bye. Game over, yeah.